Hello, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. I thought I'd come on and get started working on our next project. We're going to do something for St. Patrick's Day. It's a little dark. All right, so we're going to get started. I'm going to start by painting this leprechaun. I always kind of like to start with the what I consider the furthest back. So for me, that's actually the face. So we're gonna just go ahead and start painting that. I hope everyone had a good day today. I wanted to get on earlier, but just busy, busy, busy. I'm using a color called Flesh, but I do think they have discontinued this. So what they're using in place of it is a color called Warm Beige, which I've never used a warm beige. Actually, I'm going to buy some of that just to see what the difference is. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint over these eyes. And I'll just dig out the score lines. Finished up that Valentine's insert. But that really turned out nice. I love the color combinations. Really, it's very bright. And this, I'm just going to stick with greens and golds. Part of the Irish flag is orange. It's orange, and it's orange, white, and green. Don't know. I mean, well, the leprechaun's beard's going to be orange. But I don't know if I'll do an orange square. I'm kind of still undecided what color squares I want to do. I thought about doing 3 different colors of green, and then maybe even throwing in a gold square. I haven't decided yet. So, but I won't be getting to the square part today, so I got plenty of time to think about it. Now, I will be on here tomorrow, off and on, most of the day, because I've got lots and lots to paint. I just finished putting together my new interchangeable design, and I can't wait to get that cut and started. I don't think I'll paint that online. I might do a recording and then post it in the private group. I'm not worried about the eyebrows. I actually have little teeny tiny eyebrows that we will be gluing on. Hello, happy Thanksgiving. Now, the top of this face, I made it, hello, happy Thanksgiving. It's way up higher than it should be, and I did that intentionally. That way it allowed you a little bit room for error if need be. So I am going to do some shading. So I will find out where exactly I need to shade at. And what I'll do is I'll probably do some raw sienna and the flesh color. I'm not one for mixing colors, but just haven't really found a really good shading color for my flesh that I'm happy with. And it doesn't take much. But I just want it a little bit darker. And I'll probably do some rosy cheeks. We will see. I didn't mix a whole lot of this paint. Hello, happy Thanksgiving. So hopefully I end up having enough. And I'm gonna have to tilt these pieces towards me. I usually don't paint at night, even though I have great lighting over top of me. There's definitely a glare. I'm just gonna go ahead and bring it down the sides too. It's not as dark as what I would like, so I might have to darken it up a titch more. This is a little bit darker, not much though. Hopefully it'll work. Got way too much water on my brush. I'm using one of those brushes I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'll tell you what, I think I'm gonna start purchasing these. I'm I'm not sure how much I paid for it, but I know it's not as expensive as another brand. Now this is actually going to go on a square by itself, so I'm going to paint this one a little lighter than this. This is actually going to go on a gold coin. This is going to be 4 squares, but also I'm throwing in a gold coin that's going to sit off to the side, and it'll come with a little stand that you can, here's the gold coin right here. So this will sit on the stand. Hello, happy Thanksgiving. So while it's drying, I'm going to go ahead and just start painting this clover and the hat and suit of this leprechaun. I'm going to use Hauser medium green. Now, what I can tell you, green sometimes you got to do quite a few coats. And I could probably use a sponge, but with this beard being as intricate, hi honey, as it is, I'm just going to choose to use my paintbrush. I thought about using a rake brush on his beard, but there's so many curves to his beard that I just thought it would be best. I'm just gonna paint it, highlight it, and shade it. And he has a mustache as well. And we'll be painting his beard and mustache in orange. I'm gonna kind of use like a darker orange. I don't want anything too bright. Now, I did do a porch greeter, St. Patrick's Day gnome, and I just left his beard white, and it's really cute. I do have that available, that pattern, on my Etsy shop. I hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving. I know my husband and I did. It was just he and I. Our dinner was fantabulous. We've been making Thanksgiving dinner together for 30 plus years. We both have our little tasks that we do, and we pull together for cleanup, and our kitchen was clean within, well, we clean as we go. But our kitchen was clean and didn't even look like dinner took place. Within like 10, 15 minutes after finishing dinner. And that's the way to do it. I don't expect a whole lot of people to be popping on here. I know the people that come and watch me are all busy. But if you catch the replay, if you'd be kind enough to type in hashtag replay, that would be nice. I find there's a lot of people that view this after the fact. So I learned something interesting yesterday. My friend who lives in Canada, they celebrate Thanksgiving in October. I would have never guessed that. And then while we're celebrating July 4th on the 4th, they celebrate it on the 1st of July. Who knew? I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, but I probably ought to start. Yeah, but that was pretty interesting to me. My husband was kind of surprised about it too when I told him about it. So it kind of makes me wonder how other countries celebrate, what day they celebrate stuff on. Because that is very interesting. And I'm still gonna need to put another coat on here. I water my paint down there too, to help with base coating. I don't like to see brush strokes when I'm painting. And I think if you don't have a good mix of water and paint, you get that. So I think one more coat will be all right. Now they do make a color called Kelly Green, but it's really bright. I like this Hauser green. I use it quite often. And this project should be a quick paint. I think the most time-consuming part will be this leprechaun. But everything else, well, and then maybe the pot of gold. But everything else should go pretty quick. Yeah, my lighting just is not that great tonight. I don't know what's going on. It just looks dark in the monitor. So hopefully it's not that dark for you folks. I don't know, just looks pretty dark. I think I'll be adding a little bit of glitter. I have no shamrock to paint. And I need to do the nose. Didn't do that. It's a little blotchy in areas. Hello, happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, the screen's not too user-friendly today. Not at all. See if that helps at all. I'll probably paint the lettering this color too, but I'm kind of holding off. I thought about doing it the dark green, but one thing I've noticed with the Hauser dark green is it has a blue tint to it. At least that's what I see, and I don't think I want that, so. Need to paint his nose. Let me see if I even want to bother doing cheeks. No, I could because that's... I didn't put any score marks where the mustache is going to go. And the reason being is that way you can choose exactly where you want to put it. You might want it way up close to its eyes. You might want it down further. There's no right or wrong. So I left that blank so that way you can determine where you want it to be. Okay, I think I'll do a little bit of dry brushing his cheeks. I changed my tablecloth and I have this down because I don't want a bunch of paint on it. At least not right off the bat. I'm going to use a color called Terra Coral, excuse me. I like to use that for cheek color, and then also to just adding some color to the nose. And I like to just kind of go in a circle. Some people don't agree with that. That's what I like to do. Just rubbing ever so lightly. And you want to make sure that when you're dry brushing, first off, you put enough paint on your brush, but then, you know, you got to rub it off, which I know seems kind of counter whatever, but that's what you have to do. Just touch your surface ever so lightly. And you might have to do it a couple times, but that's probably pretty good. I'm happy with that. Hello, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for stopping in. And then I'll use that to actually shade the nose. And then I'll put a little highlight on there to brighten it up. All right, how are we on this green? Probably good enough. I'm going to do a little highlighting with some Hauser light green. I'm just dipping the corner of my brush into the paint. I'm not putting a whole lot on there, and then I take it to my palette and blend it, and then bring it to my surface. And these little brushes don't hold a whole lot of paint, so you'll have to go back and do this a couple times. At least I do. Because I don't put a whole lot on in the beginning. I like to build my shading and highlighting. Now I will use a bigger brush. On the hat, and I'll probably stick with this brush right now. Key to a good float is, first off, you gotta have a really good brush, one with really sharp, a chiseled edge, and what I mean by that is this right here. Look how thin that is, and it's pointy. And then a good combination of water and paint, and then blending. And I'll go back and clean water. You have to clean water. I have a double basin, one for rinsing off my brush and then one for soaking my brush, but every now and again it does get a little bit more dirtier than what I want. And you'll find that I will take several breaks and empty my water, because you have to have clean water. It's a must. I'm gonna see if I can somehow use this brush. This is a tiny piece. Now I always like to do my highlighting first, and then I go back and do my shading. And the reason why I do that is, if you look right here, I mean, my highlighting's going up into my beard, but I'm going to shade underneath my beard. So that's going to cover up that highlighting and actually cast a shadow onto the highlighting. So that's why I like to highlight first. I will highlight first 90% of the time, probably more like 95. It actually needs to be a thicker line, but I'll go back. And you also, too, even though I'm not doing it right here, you want to allow your shading and highlighting layer to dry in between coats. Because if you don't, you'll be pulling off the paint. And I think with these, I'm just going to kind of do the tops of the curves. I'm not going to go around the whole clover. Just to brighten up those particular areas. I'm actually running out of paint and water. And I have a terrible habit of having too much water on my brush. So you want to invest in a mop brush, and what that does is it'll actually mop up that extra wetness that you have, because you don't want a watermark from having too much water on your brush. Okay. I do want that just a titch brighter on the edge. All right, I'm going to do just a little bit of shading with this color dark green. This is a dark green, and you really want to blend it, and you want to make sure you have enough water And I definitely do the Hauser dark green. I have a very light touch when I'm shading with it, and I will come back and go over it again. I like to build shading with this particular color because it's just, it can get away with you. There's certain colors you gotta watch out for. This is one of them. And I am gonna try and go around the beard, and that could be quite interesting. And I think what I'm going to do is put a little bit of shading on the bottom of the stem. Just to add a different color. Not a whole lot, but that might end up being a little bit darker than what I would want. So I think I'm going to highlight a little bit more next to it. But see how just, you know, doing the highlighting and the shading is creating dimension in this particular piece. And that's the whole purpose of, you know, highlighting and shading, is to try and create dimension. Alright, while that's doing that, I'm gonna highlight that. I'm gonna let that dry because I definitely want to shade under that beard. But I want to make sure that's dry before I do that, or I'll be wiping off everything I just did, including the highlighting. Something you can do too, if you don't feel comfortable with all these curves, is you could dry brush under here. I don't have a whole lot of paint. I'm just trying to kind of cast a shadow, and I will go back over that again once that dries. But I don't want it to be as dark as what the arms and behind the headband is, hatband. So I'm really gonna blend my paint. Because see, after I blend it, there's hardly anything there, and that's kind of what I'm after. That will keep from getting that really bold line. And that is probably good enough. So I'm going to use some soft black to paint his band. I didn't think about this. Okay. Gotta go down a little bit further. And I'm not letting that dry, so it's pulling off the paint. All right. I'm going to use a little antique gold to paint the buckle. And the one part of this is pretty fragile, so you want to be careful when painting it. And then I'm going to put some gold on here, some glitter, just to give it a little bit of shine. I will probably try and highlight the top of that a little bit, just to bring a different color in. Try to pull that out. So I'm just going to use a little graphite to go at the very top of that band, just to highlight it. It's a very minimal highlight. I'm going to paint my spare one just to be on the safe side, because you never know. Alright. Okay, the color I'm going to use for the beard and mustache is a color called Persimmon. It's a little darker color of orange. I don't want anything too bright. Plus, too, I think this color goes pretty well. Hello. With the green. And I definitely will be applying that with a brush. And hopefully I can get some good coverage. I know normally orange can be a bummer. And just get yourself a teeny tiny brush to get in these little curvy parts. Make sure you have plenty of water in your brush. That way it moves the paint around. Just makes it easier. I even need a tinier brush than this for that little tip. And don't be afraid to use various brushes when you're painting. Don't sit there and try and paint something with the same brush. I watch people use the same brush over and over and over again for base coating, floating. I'm really trying to put that paint on thick. So I don't have to go back over it. I think it's a pretty nice color orange. Hey Ron, how are ya? I always say hello and then you disappear. I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. And just like that, he's gone. Oh, I think he's Facebook shy. He always was a little shy growing up. It makes me laugh. And I'm gonna have to try and figure out a way that I can try and highlight the tips of this beard without getting it all over the coat. That ought to be interesting. That could be interesting. All right. I'm going to use a little bit of gold metallic here. Just add a little sheen to this buckle. My water is filthy, filthy, filthy. This is going to take several coats. There's certain colors that just, the coverage is not that good. I feel certain shades of orange is one of them. Red is another. And then sometimes this green is tough. Okay. I am going to empty out my water because it is almost black. And that'll allow that time to dry. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to attempt to highlight and shade this beard. And then we'll glue the pieces on. And we'll see what else we can get to. So I will be back shortly. going to attempt to highlight this beard. And I know I want a very teeny tiny angle brush. And I'm not going to try and go around the whole beard. I'm just going to highlight the tops of these curves. I think that would be best. And then, you know, carry it around at the bottom. We will see how that works. That's my plan. And then I'll, you know, put more highlighting on these little pieces that are protruding. What I want to do is check on this. I want a little bit more glitter. Because I know this stuff takes a long time to dry, the glitter. And of course, I'll highlight the mustache too. So I'm going to use Tangerine. And these brushes are small and they don't hold a whole lot of paint and they don't hold a whole lot of water. I don't know. I wonder if I can get away with a bigger brush. So I'll be here to Christmas using that one. And I paint slow as it is. Just trying to get a little extra color out there on the ends. And it will fade, so I'll probably have to go back. Because I'm just using a little bit of paint, mixing it with water, and using a very light touch. It's very minimal. But it does break up that orange somewhat. I don't know how I feel about it, but and I did get a little bit on the jacket. So if you do that, just use a Q-tip. Don't use your brush to try and wipe it off. You'll ruin your brush. I always have a big container of Q-tips out. It's a little bit more than what I wanted. I hope it fades. If not, I'll go back over it. I don't know. I think I need to fix that. I like this over in here, but over here is just too dark for me. So what I'll try and do to calm it down a little bit is I'll just take the base color and kind of go over it. And what that'll do is it'll calm it down a little bit. going to try and go over that again down there at the bottom. And I'm just going to have to call that good and hope it fades. Alright, I do want to do a little bit of shading under where the nose would go and under where this mustache would go. I'm just going to stick with under. I was going to go on top, but I'm not. So I'm going to use a little burnt sienna. And I think I'm going to try a bigger brush because I want this light. I don't want it really bold. And then I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then I'm going to come back over here, because if I was to do this now, what's going to happen is I'm going to wipe off the shading that I did do. So while that's doing that, I'll shade underneath where the nose is going to go. I'm having a really hard time seeing. I didn't blend my paint like I normally do. I gotta paint his eyes too. Didn't think about that. I kind of just put a big glob of paint on the end of my brush, and I start in the center and I just kind of push the paint out to the score line. And I turn my piece as I go. That one I got a little bit carried away with. Might have to see if I can touch that up with some flesh. I don't know. Putting in light over top of dark don't work. I don't think this is the brush I always use either. Alright, I'm gonna attempt to cover that up. Hello. Just to correct that one little spot. I don't know, we'll see. And that is too much paint. Alright, good enough. Let me see. I don't know how I feel about that shading on that nose. That looks pretty rough. Looks pretty rough. Alright. I think I'll do I'm going to glue this together. And call it a night, I think. I'm going to start by gluing these little eyebrows on because they are tiny, tiny, tiny. And they're so tiny I can barely pick them up. I figured that was going to happen because they're going to be hard to push down on because they're so skinny and tiny. And then I need to dot the eyes. Try it again. I don't want to stick on there. Alright. And I've used these eyebrows before, so I don't know why they're giving me a fit tonight. Okay, I'm not going to touch them. I need to find a very small stylus and dot the eyes. Okay, good enough. I hope I did go down far enough. Yeah, it looks like I did. You don't need a whole lot of glue. You can put actually too much on and it'll slide on you when you try to push down on it. And here's the tricky. This is what I'm worried about. So I'm just gonna kind of hold it like this, dip it in my glue, pat it off. And it just rests in the middle, butts up right next to the rim of the hat. And that's it. Pretty cute leprechaun. Pretty cute. I like him. And his eyebrows off a little bit, but you know what? And so is his mustache or titch. So let me see if I can fix that. If not, it is what it is. So I think I'll paint that. Just to be on the safe side. Because once this glue sticks, it sticks. So I'll try it again. And whatever it is, I'm going to live with the results. Okay, better. All right, that's that. I think since I already have the, I haven't decided. Part of me wants to put glitter on this, but I don't know. So I think I'll go ahead and just paint this real quick. With the antique gold. I'll have to dig out my score marks for the circle around it. I'm not going to worry about having really good coverage because I am going to put that glitter on. And that actually adds a little bit of color. I'm actually going to attempt, and that's the operative word, attempt to shade and highlight this a little bit. And I think the color I'm going to use is Golden Straw. I'm just going to go around the outside edge. This. Just to brighten it up a little bit. And then I'm going to shade the inside, some honey brown. That was a little bit too much. Good enough. Hopefully I can get a nice shade on the inside. Way too much paint. You'll have to reload your brush a couple times. Don't sit there and try and get it all in one swoop and stress yourself out. Something tells me I should have done a darker color like burnt sienna. I might change and do that because this isn't dark enough. Not the look I'm kind of going for. I want something a little bit darker. So I think I'll try some raw sienna. That's definitely better. Uh-oh. Don't know what happened there. This makes it a little bit darker. I will, you know what? too much. I'm just going to add a little bit more lightness up here at the top. Maybe I'm going to do it all the way around. I like how that's brightening that up. And let that dry. This will go on here like that, and I really do think it needs glitter, but I'll wait until I put glitter on the coin itself. Let that dry, and I'll start hitting it with some of that glitter. Because I want that to have a lot of sparkle, to be honest with you. A lot. I have all kinds of glitter, and this one here is like really glittery, but when you look at it like this, it just looks terrible. But if you look at it at an angle, it has a whole lot of shine. So I'm just gonna and this actually changes the color a little bit too. That's why I wanted to do the highlighting and shading first. Can't see the highlighting as much as you can the shading, but and what I know from experience, this takes a long time to dry. But I don't know if you can see in the camera how shiny this is and glittery. It looks like a gold coin. And that's what I wanted. Then too, it calms that shading down a little bit too. So, I will let that dry overnight, and then I'll decide if I want to make my clover glittery. Like I said, I don't know if you can, well, I can see it in the camera that it's looking pretty shiny. So, where we're at is we got these two done. And we have 2 more things to go. I have a clover. Well, no, we have 3 more things. I forgot. This is a 5-element design. And I'm probably going to paint this stand. I'll probably paint it green. That's probably what I'll do. But that's what you'll stick the coin on. So this coin is not going on a square at all. As a matter of fact, it's too large for a square. So it'll set off to the side, and you'll just display this gold coin on. But I think if I put that in there like that, it just looks a little blasé. I think I need to put some glitter on there. What do you think? It just... You'll have to let me know in your comments. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to do it now. I'm doing it. Ooh, I don't want that. That I know I don't want. Ugh. Oh boy. I thought I had some green. I'll have to check downstairs. I thought I had some green. This is just, let me see something real quick. That's that's got a lot of glitter. I remember that now. Let me just see something real quick. I'm gonna do something on a spare board. I don't know about that. So, with that being said, I will have to check in to see if I have a different color green, because this is it's really bright. Really bright. I was going to use that on that bigger one. I don't think I have like an emerald. Because this one here, and you will see, is a bunch of that. And I don't know, it's like that other thing, and I don't know if that's what I want. So, I'm gonna let this rest for tonight. I will be back on sometime tomorrow, and we'll finish painting this. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.